Dude, we're ready.
Damn, that's high. Well, 16% of the people watched my entire video on TikTok, the one I just posted. You, Usually you get like 10%, and that's fairly high. So I've never had one go 16 out
I
of
think the
10.
most I've gotten is like 6.7%, somewhere around there. All right, guys, you got me, Casey here. This is Logan.
Yeah, guys.
We're going to be really talking about how we got into the outdoors and where we came from with it and all that fun stuff. So, Logan, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell everybody about you.
Hey, my name's Logan. I'm a full-time fishing guide here on Smith Lake. I also fish the Bassmaster Opens, trying to make the Elite Series. But guiding's my main deal. It's what I do here on Smith Lake, and it's mostly for crappie, even though I fish professionally for bass. So,
Hell yeah. Um, guys, introduce myself to y'all too. I haven't really done it either. My name is Casey. I'm operations manager for a heating and air company in Birmingham. Got in, started doing the outdoors when I was a young kid, and what I do full time is work about 16 hours a day. So, but let's get into it, man. I got a few questions for you. Where where does your passion come from for the outdoors?
my dad, um, straight up and down, and I love to hunt. I've not gotten to hunt near as much as I'd like in the last couple of years. My guide business is usually extremely busy right there in that October, November, December time frame, and January gets even busier. So, really, our core rut here, I don't get to hunt. So, I don't feel like spending all that time getting ready, and I don't get to hunt during the best time of the season. So, really kind of taking a back seat to my fishing the last few years. But my dad instilled fishing and hunting both, but the fishing's definitely a little deeper.
Heck yeah. Well, you being up here now on the farm, you
Absolutely,
get that chance. You know where both lines are. You go out there and get in them whenever you get ready.
for sure.
It's like I'm the same way. My dad got me into hunting and fishing from a young age. Hell, I grew up on the river.
Right.
Um, lived down there since I was 9 years old. Dad always had a boat, fish nights and stuff, and he got me into hunting from a young age. And I killed my first deer when I was about 7 with a 410 single shot. I thought it knocked my shoulder off when that thing went off. Down in Selma at my godparents' place, and you know, it was that was some great times down there, getting to spend it with my dad. But he don't get to get outdoors no more, so because of his neck and everything. But what is your what's your earliest outdoor memory?
It would be fishing with my dad. We literally went to the lake every Saturday from the time I was 3 or 4 years old up. And I mean, I can remember launching there at my godfather's marina, 4 or 5 years old on Smith Lake. And the marina's no longer there, but I drive by it a fairly good bit. And I can always remember us launching the boat there. I can remember killing my first deer like you're talking about. My first one was with a 270, but I was 9, so a little older, a little older. Could handle, I guess, a little better,
Oh
but
yeah.
I was so jacked up it didn't matter. So
Well,
definitely can remember that.
I've still got that 410 single shot. It was I think my granddad bought it. My great
Right.
granddad bought it out of the Sears catalog,
Nice.
and it
Nice.
ain't got no rubber on it. It's a solid stock 410. I think I shot it like 5 years ago, and it still kicked harder than my 12 gauge. And it's I love that old gun, and that's fun. And same way with me. My first outdoor memory is fishing with my dad, and being outdoors, and you know he had that boat from I think the time I was about 5 or 6, and my grandparents had a river house down there, and going down there and just fishing with him, night fishing off the
Yeah.
pier. Was probably my best memory of getting this night fishing off the pier with old kerosene heater out there, freezing cold, catching catfish.
Can't beat it.
Um, was there ever a moment you didn't like hunting or fishing and didn't want to stick with it, but you ended up doing it anyway?
No, not really. I guess the bug bit me kind of early on fishing. Hunting was a little bit later, just 3 or 4 years. Like I said, I killed my first deer at 9, and there's never been a time in my life where I didn't want to do one or the other. Now, there's definitely been times in my life when hunting's taken a back seat just
Yeah.
because fishing's my fishing's my one true deal. If I got to pick one, it's going to be fishing. But I do love to hunt, and no, I've always, ever since I was a kid, there's never been a time where it was like, hey, I'm gonna back off of it. So
Well, it's a little bit different for me. I did some stupid shit in my 20s, and pardon my French there, guys, but that is how you classify what I did. Won't get into it, but I just took a back seat to it, and when I got to the point in my life where I was ready to stop doing all that stuff, this brought me back, centered me, being outdoors and just going and hunting it. I found it the best place where I get to talk to God because I'm by myself around His creation, around the animals, just listening to everything, and that's where I do most of my talking, and it helped
100%.
me. And I'll put this out here, guys. I've been sober for going on almost 10 years now. Drug free. I had a bad stint in my life, but came back to it, got back into hunting, got with God, had some great friends that helped me, and that got me through where I am today. And then, of course, meeting that when I got in the house in yonder kind of straightened me out. And I feel you probably the same way with Jessica
Oh
too.
yeah, oh yeah, no doubt about that.
So, what do you remember the most? The success, the people, the mistakes that got you hooked into hunting or fishing?
The hunting side of it for me was getting to spend time with my dad in the outdoors. Obviously he and I love to fish together, but dad, when I was much younger, he'd rather hunt when the winter got there, and so we hunted together. And
Mhm.
getting to go with my cousins at a very young age. My cousin Matt was there when I killed my first deer. I'll always remember that.
Mhm.
My dad obviously was sitting in the shooting house with me, and then and fishing for me, it was it was that thrill of the unknown of am I going to get a bite? Am I not going to get a bite? And that, I guess that magic kind of hooked me into what I'm doing now and making it a full time living.
Yeah. I was one of the thing that the success that got me is, the biggest thing I got to take away from it is I look back on it now was getting to spend time with my dad and, you know, not even really talking, just sitting there, just spending time with him. And, I know you lost your dad a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's up and he's in his 70s now, or let's see, dad is 30 years older than me. So he's 68, almost 70. And, you know, I know I don't want anything to happen, but it's getting shorter. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
um, just getting to spend time with him and be around the guys that were his best friends and close friends, and going down and listening to them tell stories that I didn't need to hear and everything else. One of my dad's best friends is his name's Steve Banks, and I want to do a little what we're doing right here, but I don't think I'd be able to show it because of how he talks. But that man's a mess. I love him to death. But you know, fishing for me, I didn't. I gravitated to the hunting side where you gravitated to the fishing side. And I'm like most kids. When I was younger, fish ain't biting. I'm done. I want to go back. I want to go
Right.
back, go swim, go ride sea-doos or whatever. But you know, one of the biggest things that got me is when my dad had his last neck surgery, got to where he can't get in
Yeah.
the boat, and he was a big crappie fisherman and loved it, and
Right.
especially him living down there on the Warrior, he had tops everywhere,
Oh yeah.
and right across my house called a 3.5 pounder.
Wow.
He's got it on the wall. So, but who taught you the most in the outdoors?
Probably my dad. Um, you know, core core of fishing, bass, crappie, everything. My dad did. My first tournaments were with my dad. But I've had a lot of really good influences in my life over the years. My uncle Rick took me at a young age, a lot
Mhm.
at night, and he would travel a little bit with me when I was younger. We would go to Gunnersville, we'd go to Pickwick. As a kid, that was a big deal. But all of my uncles have had some part of me in the outdoors. My uncle JC does. Um, from a hunting standpoint, he and I've hunted together for a long time,
Mhm.
especially when I was younger. And one of my neighbors, that a long term neighbor when I was a kid, he he and I started fishing tournaments together when I got a little bit older.
Yeah.
And so, but mainly family, for me.
Same here. My dad was my biggest influence in learning the outdoors. My mom likes to tell this story that, when my brother was born, been home for about 2 weeks. And my brother was born in December. She told my dad, get out of the house and go hunting. He loaded up, went down to Orville, and stayed home for a week. My dad, used to work on bows and stuff at Walter Craig Sporting Goods when he was younger. I've still got his bow that he got built. And actually, me and him were talking about it this morning. He's like, I said, I need to buy me a new compound. I hadn't shot a compound probably, 10 years.
Right.
He said, well, you still got that old mock flight in there. I said, I probably couldn't draw it back because it's only 50% let off. And when he built it, it bottoms out a 95-pound bow scale.
Oh, wow.
So don't know what the draw is on it, but old pendulum sight, mock flight, and he instilled a lot of good things into me about the outdoors. And the older I've got, the more I see that what he was trying to teach me was true. That it teaches you patience, it teaches you respect, it teaches you so much about life just because it doesn't happen quick. How many times you gone out and killed a deer in the first 30 minutes? It's very rare.
This is very
How many times you gone out and caught that 5-pound bass on the second cast?
It's a rare.
So, what's the best single piece of advice you'd ever gotten from the outdoors perspective?
Make mistakes, because if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. Not everybody's gonna. We live in Alabama. We're not gonna run up there and shoot 170-inch deer, 150-inch deer every year. It's not gonna happen. It's Alabama.
Yeah, not unless it's in a fence and laying down.
Exactly. So I mean, understand what your hunting or fishing situation is. If you're fishing in a pond, we're not going to go out and catch 28 pounders today.
No,
but you still go out and have a good day, learn something, but don't be afraid to make mistakes. Because if you're not making them, you're not trying hard enough.
We've gone out there, fished on the pond, tied on a fresh swim bait, and cast it. Swim bait goes this way, my line just falls. It's what did I do wrong at that aspect? I've got a $7 sprinter bait stuck in the tree over on the dam.
It happens. It happens.
My dad's biggest single piece of advice that instilled in me, because he was my big influence, was if you don't have patience, it's not ever going to pay off for you.
100% right.
If you don't take the time to put into it, invest into it, you'll never be better at it. And that carries on in my life. Every day. I got a funny story. We'll segue into this, and it has to do with Steve, and he's scared of heights. So my dad built him a lock-on stand.
Right.
So he went and put it out, and that's probably in the 80s. Dad said they went out there to go look at it. Steve said, well, what do you think? Dad said, he's out there looking, doing this, and I don't see it. He goes, well, it's right there. It was just off ground.
That's solid. That's solid right there. That's solid right there.
He also killed one of the biggest deer in the state at one time. It was number 6 on the registry.
Wow.
Was so scared it was going to run off, he went and got a logging chain, drug it back to the tree, and tied it up. I'm gonna have to take you and Jessica and Eli down there and show y'all their farm down in Selma. Absolutely. And let y'all meet that man. He is hilarious. Y'all would have the best time.
Absolutely.
What about you? What's a good funny moment from when you were out?
A friend of mine, G3, he and I were fishing a tournament. We launched the boat, run to the first spot, go through blast off, run the first spot. It's an evening tournament. And I'm 16 at this point. And we dropped the trolling motor, and I hit the pedal and the go button at the same time. And there is no click. And at that time, the older trolling motor, you hear that click.
Yeah.
And there's no click. I hit it again. Nothing. Reach down, flip the pedal back on and off. Nothing. I asked G if he'd charged the batteries. He said he had, but there's 2 old men in a boat not far from him. We hollered at them and asked if they had jumper cables. They did. So I took Took jumper cables, went from the cranking battery to the trolling batteries. We fired right up, and we paid the guys $40 for those jumper cables in cash that were worth about $10 because they were rusted from one end to the other. But we got third that night and big fish, and I'll never forget that because of that. That was a predicament, but we ended up making the best of it. So
Yeah, I remember one night me and Dad were out fishing in White Oak across from his house. We'd been up jug fishing. Me and him were headed back, and I did something that night that a marine mechanic had never seen before. We come back out, come past that gas station up in White Oak, and I got up on plane and was starting to come around the turn there to come back into the mouth of the main river.
yeah,
Hit a submerged log,
yeah.
knocked the motor back up on the transom. You ever see magnets knocked out of a stator? Well, I did it. Yeah, that's one thing about me. If it can be done, my butt can do it, man. And he took it down to Stuckey's Marine. He said, "Billy, been doing this for a long time. I've never seen that happen." It scared the crap out of me. We run about 35, and I come around that turn right there, and all of a sudden, then had to spend the next 30 minutes going from the mouth of White Oak across the Smiths with a trolling motor.
Jeez.
Yeah, that scared the crap out of me night. I remember one night we were fishing off the pier. Dad used to keep his boat tied up down there. When we were down there on the weekend, some guys come by on a pontoon boat, cut every one of our lines before we were fishing off the pier. Well, apparently they come back that night, cut the lines, going to the oil feed to the motor, and me and my brother didn't know it. And Dad told me, "Y'all go out next day, and we're gonna go knee board, whatever."
Yeah.
We're sitting in the mouth of Walker County Shoals, and my brother gets on it, and the motor blows. And then all of a sudden, we look down, and the whole back around the boat is just covered in oil.
That's terrible.
Oh yeah,
that's terrible.
That caused the boat to sit for 5 years before the new motor got put on it. You ever see your dad get mad at somebody like that for doing something stupid?
Oh yeah. Sometimes it was me. You know. Hey, you're not holding the we as a kid I hunted out of ladder stands a lot with him. So he wouldn't let me climb up the stands, the most dangerous part.
Yeah.
You get the stand leaned against the tree up there, and you got the guy holding at the bottom, and I was always the holder at the bottom, and he'd get up there on the platform and hold it steady, it's wiggly. Well, no crap. You're 20 foot up the stand. Or the funniest one was the one that we had, was a little farm and fet we hunted when I was a kid, and I mean I'm about 40-acre farm down there, and had some wonderful deer on it though. Yeah. And Dad was hunting this one section that was cut over. And the first year we hunted down there, he started out with a 15-foot ladder stand. You go buy at Walmart or Academy or anywhere else. So just the same deal there. And the next year, the cutover got a little taller, so we put another rung on there, and we got it on up there by almost 20. And then next year comes by, well, we got to put another rung on there. So now we're up at 25. Well, now we got to go with 2 braces. And eventually, when we finally quit hunting down there and went down there and cut it loose, to the bottom of the actual butt platform of the stand was about 28 or 21 foot. Because we had just sections built and it had gotten thicker with the tubing as we came down. So, but no, that would get on to me for that if I wasn't holding the stand good, for him.
Hey, my best friend Jeff I worked for, he took me down to something down in Menor.
Right.
I come in work one a day, and he goes, "Hey, tomorrow, bring your bow. We're going hunting." So we loaded up and went down, went hunting. He goes, "All right, I'm gonna take you down here. We'll drop you off at this ladder stand." He goes, "I'm gonna go up here to this other field, and I'll be back to get you." I said, "Go." He drops me off and leaves. I go over his ladder stand. I'm in my early 20s. I just go climbing. I get 3/4 of the way up, realize there's no stabilizer in the middle of this ladder stand, and it's 20 foot.
Oh, that's fun.
I get this ladder stand, and then I realize the tree that it's on, it narrows very, very quickly to the top. This tree's only this big. It's blowing 15 miles an hour. So for about 30 minutes, I sat there and did this. And I got down, and I was like, "Nah, I ain't doing this. I'm going to get motion sick." So I went and found a little dip that was like, you get there, take a nap, kind of.
Yeah.
I go get in that, and I fall asleep. Jeff can't get a hold of me.
Oh, yeah.
He comes riding up down the ladder stand, and I ain't in it. He thinks I done fell. And And all of a sudden he comes over and he's freaked out, hits me and goes, "I've been calling you for the last hour and a half." I said, "Well, I've been here asleep. I don't know about you, but I got me a good nap in." He goes, "You see anything?" I said, "Yeah, back of my eyelids."
I was I did something really really similar. I had a probably 11 or 12 hunting with my dad, and my dad's favorite thing in the afternoon when I was a kid before we went to the stand was we got a yoo-hoo,
Hmm.
and so he always kept in his cooler in his truck. He gave me a yoo-hoo, and he sent me off to my stand. I was hunting by myself at that time, and uh, I get over across the bottom and get in my shooting house. I've had my yoo-hoo. Well, that sun's hitting me.
Hmm.
Of course, I went to sleep, and dark came around. Dad, no cell phone at that point, so
Yeah, yeah.
Dad's hollering from top of the bottom. Of course, I don't hear him, so he drives down in there with the tractor, and flashlight, and he's hollering, thinking the worst is happening. And I'm just sitting there taking a nap. So he got on me good for
I,
that one.
I took a nap one time in a climbing stand about 20 foot up in an oak tree in a bottom. I was right off from what we called it the house place. You could see the house from where I was sitting at.
Right.
And Dad knew about where I was. I woke up. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'd have been up there that long asleep. My phone,
Jeez.
I've got several missed calls. I've got 2% left, and it's pitch black dark, and I got to climb down.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
You talking about butthole pucker?
Oh, I bet. I bet.
They ended up having to come look for me
Oh,
because they couldn't get a hold of me.
yeah.
But let's move on, man. What keeps you chasing it today? Is it the challenge, the food, the pace, the people? What is it for you that keeps you in love with outdoors?
It's a little bit of everything, man. I mean, I love the food aspect of it. Obviously, I'm kind of a big fella, but I love good fried crappie. We kept some dove the other day,
Hell yeah.
so deer meat's great. Anything wild game, I love. Don't get me wrong. The camaraderie is awesome. Whether it's future brother-in-law
Mm-hmm.
or best friend you've had your entire life. And it's also to me the piece of it by yourself. You can have to go hunt by yourself or fish, but my factor right now that's driving me is the guide side of it, and trying to chase a true 3 pound black crappie on Smith Lake.
Yeah.
That's my next feather in the cap I'm chasing right now.
Yeah, man. There ain't nothing better than fresh, caught, cooked, clean crappie.
You're right.
Especially you got some collard greens, baked beans go along with it, some cornbread, and I love that. That was my favorite thing with Dad. Used to go fish all the time. He'd get off work and go fishing evening with his best friend Bernie. Had a river place to 2 houses up from his, and they go catch mess, and we get in there, clean them, cook them. Man, I love that. We got Eli that goes along with us now. Got him into fishing outdoors. He's loving it all. What's something you want to pass on to the next generation?
You know, the love for the outdoors, and that's across fishing and hunting, in preserving what we have for the next generation. Yeah, I guide full time and we keep a lot of crappie. Don't get me wrong, but it's not to a point that we're hurting things.
Yeah.
The state here does a good job at limiting what we can take from our waterways and from the field, and so making sure that is preserved and carrying that legacy to the next is my most important thing.
I'm the same way. Like you spend a lot of time. You spend more time with Eli than I get to, and you know, my nieces and nephews, besides him, don't like to hunt. They don't like to be outdoors, fish much or anything like that. So I'm trying to pass what I learned by my dad on to Eli too. And of course, his dad takes him hunting a lot, and his granddad Barry, Mike, and I just want to see more young people get into the outdoors because back when we were growing up, most everybody I knew either hunted or fished.
Same way.
Now it's not that way. Is I remember seeing like deer that I've showed you up here and we've seen up here. You didn't see that,
Right.
and hearing stories probably from your dad and my dad back when you go hunting, you would never see anything because the deer herd was so thinned out here.
So terrible.
And that's where I think, our conservation programs that we have here in the state do a great job. And I want to see more people be able to utilize those, whether it's, public land hunting, going down, to the dam to go fish, when they stock it for trout or anything like that. And we got the Walker County Lake here that people can go do. And it's like, KB is getting to go do the Cash for Kids on the 17th.
Yep. Great opportunity for any kids out there looking to do
Yeah,
a free event.
yeah, a lot of these kids are, got autism, Down syndrome, special needs, and it's I hate I ain't gonna be able to make it this year for it, as me being a member of Kiwanis as well. But I'm in the time of year where I have to be at work. But they said, and Billy Doss, who's this is his thing for Kiwanis.
Right.
The best thing that he gets to do is Cash for Kids, to see these kids' face light up. And it's like, you remember how happy you were, that adrenaline rush you got when you caught your first fish or killed your first deer.
Oh yeah,
It hooks them for life.
100%. 100%. That's probably my favorite thing about gardening is getting to have younger kids on the boat with parents, and seeing that kid light up, but really seeing that parent light up because their kid's happy. Yeah. They're getting to remember that. Their kid's always going to remember that memory with their dad or their mom.
Yeah, that's, we had Brian and Jan up, friends of mine, KB's up, and their kids, they're city kids. They don't get to go do this kind of stuff like we get to, and, brought them up here, and they got to go experience just getting to go do whatever they wanted to, not have to worry about anything. And Brian's son Elijah, shooting a 20 gauge for the first time,
Right.
and shooting KP's M22, and it's stuff like that we take for granted because we don't think about it, because we grew up doing it. That there's kids that don't ever get to experience this type of life and living in the country like we do, and I feel for them.
Oh yeah,
I really do, because that's the life that they were brought up in. But if there's always another side
100%.
to be able to get out to it. Let's see here. Let's move on. And where do you see the outdoors and outdoorsmen heading by the way that things are going now?
There's worry in there. There's no doubt about that. From an aspect of losing the ability to fish and hunt, in a lot of these public lands or public waterways. You know, I do think that's why it's so important to make sure that the next generation preserves it. Because if we don't get the next generation to love it like we do, it's not going to be here.
That's right. 100%. 100% agree with that. Outdoorsmen, hunters, and fishermen are the leading source of conservation in this country. And without hunting and fishing, populations would get out of hand.
100%.
That's Liberty. You remember when they built Liberty Park over on 280 or off 459? I remember as a kid being 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and my dad telling my aunt, when my aunt and uncle lived over there, if they don't do something soon, y'all are going to have a problem. And then, boom, 10 years later, they hold the open lottery to hunt up there. Same way at Oak Mountain.
Yeah.
Because they just deer end up getting diseases and dying in people's yards. And the same way as I do, it's like you got a private pond you stock crappie with.
Oh yeah.
If you don't take crappie out of it, they'll overtake it.
It'll get out of hand. And that's even when you take it into a large public waterway. It's like I said, I got on Smith, Clear Creek. No secret out there. Clear Creek get a lot of crappie in it. Clear Creek, though, has always had an issue in size. When I first started guiding 5 years ago, a average size crappie, not your biggest, just go straight up and down average size crappie, was between 8.5 and 9.25 inches. Yeah. And it has to be 9 here in the state to keep one. I prefer keeping them 10 inches and above. I hope the state changes that. It's one thing I'd like to see them change. But that since then, and us taking fish out a fairly large amount here and there through guiding, that average size crappie now is between 10 and 11 inches. And so that size, and that doesn't seem like that much, but I mean, that's 2 inches on a fish.
That's a deal on a crappie.
Yeah. I mean, that's a significant change. And I truly think it is driven from the amount of guiding that I did in there the first couple of years, especially. But the amount of guys that steal crappie fish it now, that is, you're going to see more crappie boats in that creek than probably any other creek on the whole lake. But that's a good thing. it has brought that size of fish up, in my opinion, in that area.
Heck yeah. I can't wait till we can get out there. You
So
go catch some fish, and me, you, and Eli go out there and wear them out one day and show all these folks what you do. And
very soon.
you know, guys, if y'all want to book a guide trip, Logan, I'm gonna put his information in the description here. Be sure to reach out to him. He always usually posts his dates on his Facebook, Instagram, that what he's got available. So y'all make sure that, you know, every day he goes out, he's posting something, and these guys are coming home with coolers full of fish. They're coming home with limits.
Yeah, we ran yesterday morning. Had two older gentlemen with me, and we had a 2-man limit, so again, state it's 30 a person. So they had 60 in the cooler before their 4 hours was up. I mean, they were. There's more time spent reeling in than there was just sitting.
Hey, I'll take the pictures from your last few guys, and I'll put them in here while we're talking about this. So these people can see that, you know,
absolutely,
you're not wasting money. Also, guys, electronics. If you have live scope, he can take you out, get it set for you, show you how to work it, make sure that you're getting the best picture quality possible, and show you how to operate that stuff.
For sure.
He's one of the only guys I know that does that.
There's not a lot of guys that teach electronics. There's probably across the state, I would say there's probably 5 or less than us. 5 or less than that of us. I can name 3, including myself, off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's probably a couple more I don't know about. But I teach all 3 major brands, whether it's LiveScope, like Casey said, or side scan from Garmin, Lowrance, Humminbird, anybody. If it's an electronics on the Marines, I teach it.
Well, guys, we want to see and hear about y'all's experiences. So y'all put them in the comments. Logan's got access to our Facebook page and Instagram. I do too. My wife does. She helps me moderate it. So we want to hear about y'all stuff. We want to hear about what got y'all into the outdoors. You know, who was the biggest influence for you? I want to hear that. I want to be able to interact with y'all. And Logan will post some comments back in there as well. You want to follow Logan on Instagram, Facebook. It's LJ Fishing 44. Yep. And I'll put that in here as well in the description. I'll throw his link up here on the page as well. So if there's something you can see changed about the outdoors industry, about how outdoorsmen, you know, talk to each other, rag each other, whatever, what would you change?
The only thing I'd change, the ragging and stuff is fun. Don't get me wrong. When you're on a friend level where you can rag each other back and forth, there's nothing more fun than that. But it's almost like guys are almost standoffish to talk to each other. You know, I've always felt that way at the boat rent. The other guys that want to be like, "Hey man, how's it going? Did you catch them today?" You know, there's not a lot of interaction there. And you know, I think definitely for our younger anglers, I think that's a big deal.
Yeah. You know, I've experienced that too, especially like if you pull up somebody's in a slough. How many times have you had somebody just start fishing right behind you and it just piss you the hell off?
Oh yeah, it happens.
You know, my biggest thing, you were probably raised the same way. If somebody's fishing that spot, you go somewhere else and wait a little while, then you can swing back by and see if they're there. But
don't pull up on them.
Common courtesy, guys. That's the same way with hunting. You know, we have 2 big public management areas that are closest. We got Bankhead up here toward Double Springs, and then we've got Mulberry over here on the river. And I can't tell you how many guys will tell you stories about they'll go put their climber in, get up in the tree, and somebody will follow them in and set up right next to them. Don't be that kind of guy. Don't be that kind of outdoorsman. My biggest thing is put the time into it, like we were talking about earlier. Make sure that if you don't put the time into it and you're trying to take the easy road out, you won't ever succeed and you'll get frustrated quick before you will anything.
Don't take that shortcut. I mean, taking a shortcut and trying to follow a guy in on a management area or, you know, follow a guy around out on the lake. I see people follow people out around on the lake, see their areas they're fishing. It happens. You know, don't be that guy. Don't take the shortcuts. Go out there and learn it. If you don't know how to learn it or you can't figure the electronics side of it out, find somebody like me. They'll teach it to you. You know,
it's the same way with hunting, guys. You know, find you some guys that are like-minded that, you know, if you're just wanting to get into it, you know, everybody's willing to help teach you. You know, they may play a prank on you and put you in one of the worst spots there's ever been, but, you know, I've seen some people do that and kill some of the biggest deer too, you know. But that's just part of it. That's, you know, being men and, you know, outdoors is mainly a male dominated thing, and we like to brag and play jokes on each other, and women have gotten more into it. I'd love to see my wife, and you'd love to see Jessica get into it more, but sure. I married a princess, so
I'll give Jess that. She's gotten out and fished with me a good bit.
Well, the biggest thing is I can say my wife will actually touch a fish.
That's true. That's true. I'll give you that one.
Guys, I'm gonna put a clip in here in just a minute. y'all are gonna laugh about his girlfriend and my wife. They're sisters, so
I'm just letting this happen.
I really did Logan here. I can't get it. Oh, fishy, I'm so sorry.
I feel so bad.
But Logan, I appreciate you hanging out with me today, man, and glad you're up here. Can't wait to get y'all's house done. And
absolutely,
guys, I will link all his socials. I'll actually link Jessica's too. They're going to be documenting. They're actually building a house right up here from ours, and it's going to be a fun time. And y'all stick around. Logan's going to be on the channel more. We'll try to get Eli on the channel more. He's gone with his dad today, but I appreciate your time, buddy.
Yeah, dude. You too.
This is Bloodline.